in a bit. Let me start, though, just I guess chronologically with signing day having been yesterday. Your overall impressions, I know most of the hay was in the barn in December, but overall impressions of LSU's 22 signees?
I thought they did a really good job. Again, that conversation almost is a December one. Because today, those final couple of three spots that you get, you sort of picking and choosing at that particular point. You filled, most of your needs that you have. I do think that this LSU team will try to go out and find a center guard somewhere, if it's most likely a transfer guy. That would seem to be the one spot where, if you look across the board, you would like to add possibly. You never know what shakes out. I mean, because those are just kind of test of the trade. But I do think a center guard is somebody that I think they'd like to bring in, despite the fact, Coach, he really praised Chason Hines. He was on with us Monday night, and he really went out of the way about Chason, that he thought he would end up being a really good center. But, again, you got to build up depth there, and he also brought that up, that he felt pretty good about the linemen that he had, but the depth is unknown.
Yeah.
And you can see it at the guard positions that they do have some depth at that spot. When you look at Cordell and Bradford and Ingram at center, you got a former defensive tackle getting swung over to the center position. He has played some, but again, big question mark with Turner. He's a guy that is still in the developmental stages physically to play that spot. So when you look on offense, to me, center is a spot that if you can get a center guard, a veteran one, I'm sure they would go that route. And on the defensive side, the football, I just think you never have enough good cover guys. I think if there's one that shakes loose somewhere, you got to go that direction, despite the fact that you brought in quite a number of them over the last 2 years.
Mike,
and you do have a spot for a certain defensive lineman if he decides to make up his mind.
All right, let me get to Burch in a minute, but one quick follow-up. What about linebacker? Because we were with the Dante Stark suspension, they've only got 2 returning scholarship linebackers with Clark and Baskerville. That would seem like that's a pretty obvious spot as well.
Yeah, again, it's a position of exactly where you're going to go, what direction you'll go there, and if one will shake out. Because, again, that seems to be every day somebody's in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
But, for Ed, and he has brought this up, and if it's been about coaches or if it's been about players, it's also been about fit. Does he fit what we're trying to do here at LSU? And so I would say that that's a possibility, but it would just depend. I think you get a better shot as a defensive back than a linebacker today.
Okay.
Just my opinion. Now, again, you never know what sort of shakes out after spring drills. That's when I think you'll have a better opportunity here, that maybe somebody, for whatever reason, he's a little bit farther down on that depth chart than he would like to be, and he decides to break out.
That happens every year.
Every year. And it's going to happen at LSU.
I would completely, of course. I mean, attrition is going to happen to make numbers work, and somewhere there will be a linebacker, an offensive lineman somewhere that'll shake, and we'll see if LSU makes the decision. Okay, Mike, we talked in the last hour a little bit about Jordan Burch. I feel like we're all guessing, but what's your read on what's going on there?
Okay, not that I know anything more than anyone else.
Understood.
On this part, but there's something not right here. And, to a certain part of me really feels bad for the young man, because I think he sort of knows, I think, where he wants to go. But there's someone else there involved, too, and I would think it's differing opinions. And I've been told, I did a couple shows out in the Carolinas yesterday where before he made the decision, many people there felt he was headed to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And so where are they getting this from? They're getting this from his coaches. They're getting this from people that have been around him. So is the family sort of torn here? And he wants to go one place. The family wants him to go somewhere else. And how many high moments do you have as a 17-year-old kid? 'Cause you're supposed to really enjoy this moment, and there's something there, Matt, with the split decision.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any even question about it at this stage. Because if you were decided where you went and your parents were decided that's the best spot for you, you would have done this already. It would have been easy. You're not doing this for attention. He got all the attention in the world. What has happened to him now is that because of the two delays, man, he thought he had spotlight on him before. Man, he's really got spotlight on him now.
Yeah.
And that's what sort of somebody has put you in this spot. And you just can't blame him. You just can't say, well, he wants attention all the time. He's getting all the attention he ever wanted. And he was not someone that was constantly giving interviews and all this other stuff. That, from what I gather from people that covered him, basically, I'm not saying on a daily basis, but weekly basis, he was not that type of individual. So I'm just speculating from what they've told me. It's a split decision in the family on exactly where he will attend. And I think he's sort of torn about it.
Last thing on Burch real quick, Mike. What type of prospect is he for 2020 on a college campus, be it South Carolina or LSU?
He's got a chance to come in here and play pretty quickly. I don't care where he's at. He is a young man that is very talented. He's going to be kicked inside. He's not going to play defensive end. Okay. He's a defensive tackle. I think that's quite obvious. The best comparison I could give, he reminds me a little bit of Jeffrey Simmons.
Oh, wow.
Who went to Mississippi State. And that he was an end in high school, and they kicked him inside to tackle at Mississippi State. And he grew into that big body pretty good, too. You look at Burch, he's got a similar body build, and he's a guy that is very good at, using his arms and his hands. He's a good leverage player. Stays low, gets under people, man, he can get up inside. He's real quick off the snap, and he is an athletic mismatch inside. So looking at him, I think while people are saying at defensive end, my position, if I've got him on my team, is I want him inside where he can cause a lot of havoc right up the middle. And, again, Jeffrey Simmons would be the comparison I would give because having watched Jeffrey when he was a high school player, he actually attended a camp I was at, and watching Burch, they got similar skills, and I think he could play fairly quickly. Not saying start, but he could play quite a bit. And I want him on the field in obvious pass rush situations. That's where I think he's going to make his mark pretty quickly in college football, in the SEC, one school or another, or possibly even another. Because you never know. Because there are people there speculating the possibility of maybe Georgia getting involved. And so we opening up just another can of worms with all that. But I think wherever he ends up, he's got a chance to be an impact player. And I think fairly quick for a big man. And that's rare to say.
Mike,
most of those guys don't make that type of impact quickly.